Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
Get ready to take care of you. Joining us is Dr. Deena Manion, who, in addition to being the clinical officer of West Wind Recovery Centers, is a doctor of psychology and licensed clinical social worker with her own private practice with offices in Los Angeles and Agora Hills. So please welcome Dr. Deena Manion.
Thank you for having me.
We've been listening to Kristen talk, and she's been saying, I hope I don't seem crazy, which is kind of pejorative term used in the lay language, but she's not insane, obviously. I don't think she's, we'll just call it quirky and charming. How about that? But it is disruptive to her life. Would you agree?
Definitely. One of the things that struck me a couple times when you spoke was your relationship with your grandmother. And it sounds like that might have been something that really kind of prompted this to get a lot worse.
I'm very sorry for your loss. You lost a big fan when you lost her, right?
My only fan.
Not true. It's kind of an insult to two people sitting across from you.
So, Kristen, the reason that I brought that up is because a lot of times a traumatic event or something that happens, a loss, an abandonment, something like that can really create this to be a lot worse. I think that, it would really behoove you to kind of look at some of those underlying things so that you could really get a handle on, like what you mentioned, feeling miserable every day. Because there's a part of you that obviously wants help. And like Dr. Phil said, you deflect with humor, but you are funny.
I've spent my whole life trying to figure out why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do. Because if you can figure out why people do what they do and don't do what they don't do, it's a real edge in life. And so I started trying to figure out why you're doing the things you're doing and not doing the things you're not doing, getting out and spending time with people and having relationships and using your social skills and all. And I went all the way back to when you were 7 years old.
Oh, boy.
Because that's when your parents divorced.
Yep.
You talked about the fact that you really felt pretty abandoned during that time.
Yep.
You felt like, hey, my dad's going to come see me. He said he was, and you'd get all ready and kind of be sitting out on the curb and no show.
Yeah, he forgot to get me.
Not long after that, you actually died in a car wreck.
I was in a motor vehicle accident with a closed head injury, and they hooked me up to life support and put me in an induced coma for a few months to allow my brain to reduce the swelling. So they had to remove my skull to allow the brain to shrink back into the space it was and set me out the door to learn how to walk.
It does have a profound effect and can create lasting impact on your mental functioning, your emotional functioning, and can certainly change the way you see and think about yourself. And this is something that has to be addressed. Dr. Manion, agreed?
Definitely. I think that what Dr. Phil is saying is pretty significant, given that part of hoarding is really about cognitive disorganization.
Let's take a break and come back and see if maybe we've just pulled the right thread on the sweater. We'll be right back.